exciting couple of weekends of conference play. Welcome to the Courtney Draper Show alongside the head coach, Mike Lefko, with you. Well, let's talk about a very exciting previous weekend. 2 5-set matches on Friday against Houston, Sunday against Tulane. First of all, as a coach, what does that do to you? You get a little stressed during those?
It's definitely stressful, and we made some great comebacks too. I mean, being down, I think we were down against Houston maybe 18-11 and came back to win that set. So that's kind of the theme now moving forward. You know, anytime we get a little deficit there, we tell the kids, I know you can fight through anything. If you can come back from, a deficit like that, I know that you can, fight through anything.
What does it take for a player mentally and physically to play a 5-set match? Because you guys had not played one this season until this past weekend. Going the distance like that, what does it take as a player to push them?
So let's talk about the physical piece first. I'm actually really, really proud and pleased with where our kids are physically right now. And a huge credit to our strength coach, Walter Bell. Our players absolutely love him. And typically players don't like a strength coach, but I think that they like him as much as they do because they see the results. So I feel really good about where we are as a team endurance-wise. So I know that we're prepared for those 5-set matches. From the mental perspective, especially Tulane, being down 2 games to none and winning in 5, between sets 2 and 3, I didn't really even get on them. I just needed them to know that I have confidence in you. You have to have confidence in yourselves. We made some strategic adjustments and used some different players in some different roles, but just really staying patient and trying to, just continue to reiterate a game plan and help them be successful in the long run.
We'll talk about that Tulane match in a second. It was a very interesting match that took place this past Sunday, but going to the weekend before against Connecticut, got your first conference win. A 4-set match. You guys won the final 2 sets. What adjustments did you make after Connecticut took set 2 to even it up?
We just ended up passing the ball a little bit better in the last 2 sets of that match, and we could feed the ball to Jolie Holland. Had a great night. Had her career high kills with 12 and career high hitting percentage somewhere around a 550. So really pleased with her performance. But again, we needed those passers to do the job, to be able to get the ball to the setter so that the setters could get the ball to the middle. Bridget Coco also had a good night against UConn, and Dakota Hampton has really come on strong now since we started conference play.
So 1-1 after that conference weekend this past weekend. Now, just a couple of days ago, Houston and Tulane. Did momentum from the UConn win carry over into last Friday night? Because Houston came in 11-3, looked like they were off to a really good season. You guys, as you mentioned earlier, had 2 big rallies and took the match to 5 sets.
Yeah, Houston is just really, really scrappy. It was a little bit of a sloppy match on both sides. Neither team performed great offensively, but both teams did a great job defensively. Really the only player with standout kills for us that night was Denise Belcher with 16. I think our next player only had 8 in a 5-set match, but it's because Houston's defense was so good, not because our kids weren't doing a good job offensively. Houston, they were just stealing some kills from us, But we also played a great defensive match, and that's what kind of kept us in it. Wiley Devlin had 28 digs, which is a great number, and then Elise Panic was pretty much only playing 3 rotations at that point, and she collected 18 digs in 3 rotations. So again, great defensive night for us, but not as good offensively. So unfortunately, you get those comebacks and you want to take that match in 5 so terribly, but we just came up 2 points shy in the end.
Well, speaking of taking it in 5, you guys did rebound on Sunday against Tulane. What an interesting match. Tulane comes out, wins the first 2 sets, then all of a sudden it's like a switch was flipped. Can you talk about the big adjustment you made going into that back half of that match?
Yeah, again, our staff just staying calm and patient with the kids, and we went from a 5-1 to a 6-2, which Elise Panic came up huge with her offensive side. So we ran a 6-2. We've been kind of in a 5-1, and not that it's all about Elise, but she's one of our strongest passers, but also obviously was one of our strongest hitters on the weekend. So in the 6-2, she gets taken out of the back row. So I wasn't sure, how our passing would be, but it was completely stable with Alexis Heidelberg, Dakota Hampton, and Wiley Devlin, of course. So the 6-2 worked really well for us. Priscilla Heasy came in and really added a huge spark and another great offensive performance from her. And then Elise's Chicago buddy, Dakota Hampton, also collected 18 kills and had a great night for us. So I think that Chicago duo was really hot in the match against Tulane, and was really happy for them.
18 kills for both of them, as you mentioned, and then for Elise to hit well over 600. That's incredible. Have you seen a performance like that, really someone locked in like that this year?
Again, you know, Denise had a good match. Everyone's kind of taking turns doing that. I think that if we can get our full offense firing on all cylinders on the same day, we could be really, really dangerous. But I was really pleased with Elise, you know, to finally find the groove, find the rhythm. She's doing a nice job, you know, hitting off of Molly, who's a freshman setter. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time offensively, and I think that they finally got it.
Well, coming up, we'll talk with the Marshall transfer. That's when the Courtney Draper Show returns.